Hello and welcome to Will Waffle. It is June now, but I wanting to talk to you about something that happened at the end of last month because it was Lawless. It was Lawless 2023 bank holiday weekend, last bank holiday weekend. And I was there, and this is going to be my, not really a review because I don't think I'm dispassionate enough. Excuse me, chair noises. To give it a review, but this is my recap. I think that's a better way to put it, of Lawless. For those of you who don't know, Lawless is a convention held in Bristol at what is not the Ramada, is the Doubletree Hilton, and it is a celebration of British comics, and that's through the ages. I think there's a lot of nostalgia for older comics and older times, and a lot of veteran comic artists and writers who attend, but there's a lot of younger folk too, people just coming up in comics, lots of small press guys, and those blazing the way forward in comics at the moment, people like the 77 and all of those guys, my friend Dave Broughton and Alan Holloway, and all of those guys doing brilliant things, and Noel Hannon. So so there's a lot of big famous creators there, some smaller ones, and everything in between. And I like to help out. Sue is a friend of mine, has been for a long time, and it's really nice. I love going down, and if you were at Lawless, then you probably saw me as you came in, shouting at you and Jodie and giving you a goodie bag and pointing you at Wendy. We do the front desk between the three of us, me, Wendy and Mark, and we are the dream team, although we missed Iz this year very much. And we're the ones at the desk getting you through as fast as we possibly can, giving you a goodie bag and telling you where to go and what's happening. It's one of my favourite things to do there, actually, is that I get to say hello to like nearly everybody who attends, guests, traders, wives and boyfriends and girlfriends, and guests and fans, everybody. I'm there to welcome everybody in, and I just absolutely love that. It's just such a wonderful way to start a weekend, is saying hello to everybody. So I hope I always get to do that because it's great fun. The next thing I did was I had the absolute joy and honour of having the guest spotlight interview, of running the guest spotlight interview on the first day, and I got to interview Dave Gibbons. How cool is that? It was a really good interview, and hopefully I've got some footage thanks to Joanne and Graham, who went live in the Facebook group, so you can always go and see it there straight away if that's something you want to do. The Lawless Facebook group, you can go to the live videos and see it there. Otherwise I am going to try and get it up on this channel, fingers crossed. And that was just a joy. That was just an absolute joy, that interview. Dave was hilarious and very funny and very interesting, and has a much better memory than me for things that happened. And it was just a joy. So hopefully I'll be able to get that footage up. If not, you can go and see it on the Lawless Facebook page. It's great. That was the only panel I had to do on the Saturday, which was quite nice actually, because it gave me a little bit of time to do barely any shopping and say hello to a lot of people, which was great, just really, really great. But I did see some other panels. I did get to see, I've written it down, I did get to see the Lawless draw off, and that was chaos. So basically you've got your host Bav, and you've got a host of artists. We had Mike Collins, Lou Stringer, Henry Flint, Patrick Goddard and Lee Carter, and they were given those big flip, what they're called, flip pads, on an easel, and they were given a set of ridiculous scenarios that they had to draw in 5 minutes with a timer. It was a very interactive panel, so that you know, the audience were as involved and cheering on. It was really fun. So some of the ridiculous things these poor artists had to draw were Ming the Merciless wearing lingerie, drunk shopping on a space hopper. And there was a one about the king and tank girl and a marital aid. That was pretty good. And what else was there? Oh, Anton Deck and Jimmy Nail, which I felt like personally offended by the amount of people who had bad things to say about Anton Deck. Who's got bad things to say about Jodie Riley and Deck? Apart from my brother, but that's a different thing, which we won't go into here. And Jimmy Nail. Anyway, there were some creations on the flip charts. Anyway, at the end of each round, the audience cheered, and one artist got knocked out until there was a crown winner, who I think was Mike Collins actually in the end. Yeah, I think it came down between him and Henry Flint. And I think Mike Collins just nabbed it at the end. I can't quite remember, because it was besides the point. It was just about the joy of it and the fun of it, and it was really, really fun panel if you ever go. And what the nice thing that they did as well is we're raising money for the Samaritans all weekend. So there was a tombola, and all the money raised for that went to the Samaritans. And they did sell raffle tickets for the you could rip the page off and choose your page, and that money went to the Samaritans as well. Me and my friend Mark bought raffle tickets, but we'd both put a £5 in, but we got 5 tickets, and we were like, shit, what we're going to do if the spare ticket wins? So we did agree that we would have we would mud wrestle for it, but it didn't happen. Sad days. The rest of Lawless very grateful that me and Mark didn't have to mud wrestle for the raffle ticket. What else was it? There was an absolutely excellent panel after that, which was How to Write a Script, hosted by Simon Belmont, and it was John Wagner, Rob Williams, and Mike Carroll and Andy Diggle, and it was such a good panel, and it was one I was really interested in attending, seeing as how I'm writing scripts now and I'm having some advice from legends like that cannot be a bad thing. And it was, again, it was informative, it was funny, it was a really, really good panel, and I'm not sure if that one was recorded actually, and it's a shame, because it was a really good, really interesting panel. There was some really, really thoughtful and interesting questions from the audience, and it's always nice when that happens. So for example, one young person in the audience wanted to know, like, literally the nuts and bolts. Well, how do I start? How do I decide which bit of story goes into which panel? And listening to these legends of comic writing, they're talking about how they break it down and how they write about and what goes into their panels, was just so interesting, and none of them do it the same way. And I think that's another really interesting thing, that nobody seems to do it the same way. But yeah, that was really good. I wish that one had been recorded, so if they do anything like that again next year, I'll try and make sure I record it if Joanne and Graham are not about. So that was for panels for the Saturday, and I'm trying to remember, because it was all just such a blur of with helping out, running around, checking people were okay, finding things, directing people, finding tables, finding drinks. One of the lovely things Lawless does is provide tea and coffee and cold water all day for everybody, not just guests, but for punters as well. And I think that's such a good thing. You can always get a cup of coffee, and on Saturday I needed quite a lot of coffee, because I made the unwise decision to drink a little bit too much on the Friday night. as is standard behaviour at a convention, even though I'm now in my mid-40s and I don't seem to be learning any lessons as that age, but fuck it. It's one weekend a year. I got to catch up with so many people, and I'm frightened to start naming names in case I forget anyone, but I have to mention that I got to see Mike Carroll and his beautiful wife Leonie, and I haven't seen them since before I had my youngest, who's 5. So that was really nice. That was really nice to catch up with those guys and spend time with my convention buddies. It was lovely to see Henry Flint, who I hadn't seen for a long time either. How nice. And to see Mike Collins' wedding photos. Oh, just it was just lush. Just really, really lush. Sunday, I had another absolute legend to interview, and that was Mick McMahon. And do you know, I was so nervous. I was nervous to interview Dave Gibbons, but I've seen Dave interviewed before and I've seen him talk before, and I knew I just had to be there to steer it a little bit, if that, you know. But I didn't know, I hadn't met Mick before, and I didn't know if it would be, and you know what, it was a joy. It was a joy. I loved it so much. I loved that he talked about not just all of his amazing artworks and all these brilliant things that he's drawn for and that he's done in his career, but also that he got really into the nuts and bolts of talking to people about what paper he used and what markers and what pens and what he did like and what he didn't like. He was very funny, and in fact at one point I don't think there's any footage from this interview, but I think somebody audio recorded it, so I'm really hoping that it turned out okay and that'll be available at some point. There's a point where I was so busy listening that I forgot that I was hosting, and I had to go, oh, I'm sorry, I've got questions here. So yeah, that was like a moment where I'd just forgotten. I was so interested and it was so interesting that I forgot my job. So yeah, that doesn't happen very often. That was a nice thing. I did see another panel that day, which was, I saw most of it. I was late getting there. I can't remember why. Busy. Was the History of British Comics panel, which was being moderated by my friend Leonard Sultana, the Englishman in San Diego. And it was an interview with Lou Stringer and David Roach, and it was so good. It was so interesting. I mean, just the depth of knowledge these guys have, and the fact that they're both still big comics fans and they both still read comics. Lou still picks up comics every week, I think. And it was so interesting, and they were talking about people that you've probably never heard of, but you're trying to scribble notes down so that you'll know to go and look it up or look them up afterwards. And in fact, that panel has cost me a small fortune, because then I ended up on eBay afterwards and have stuff arriving every flipping day at the minute, which wasn't in the plan. I'm going to blame Lou for that. That was definitely his fault, or David Roach's, one of them. Anyway, got a load of TV comics coming and some Twinkle Annuals. So excited about my Twinkle Annuals coming. I bought Twinkle Annuals from, I think, 1980, 81, 82, 83, 84. I'm very excited. Yeah, blame them completely. It was their fault. And then I hosted another panel, and this is one I just absolutely, this is a joyful one, because there's no nerves, because I'm talking to one of my best convention buddies, Ben Willsher, Mike Collins and Patrick Goddard, the two of the biggest Doctor Who fans you're ever going to meet, Ben and Mike, and Paddy, who works for Doctor Who. but doesn't know that much about it. But that does not matter. And Paddy was a little bit late. He'd got stuck at his table, and so I think it was Ben just started geeking out and asking Mike how old do you think the doctor was, because there's different opinions and all the doctors said different things and none of them add up. So we just actually started, it wasn't even like a proper panel start, we just started geeking, and then the audience were geeking with us. So by the time Paddy did arrive, I'd almost forgotten that we were supposed to be doing a panel, but that was kind of a joy for me. What a good way to start a panel. Well done, Ben, because I wouldn't have thought to do it like that. And just chat while we were waiting about a thing that we're all pretty geeky about. So that was really good. And you know, there was a lot of laughs in that panel as well. And I think, you know, you've got a good panel if you've got people laughing, and that's a good thing. Unless it's a panel about death, in which case you're fucked up. Start again. I love that. I found a quiet moment after that to go and see the Steve Dillon exhibition, which was held. So in the hotel, in the part of the hotel, the convention set, you've got the main entrance, the dealer's room, the panel room, and the big hall where all of the guests are with their tables. And then just down the corridor, a tiny little bit opposite, is this lovely big airy room, and the exhibition was set up in there. With Steve Dillon's family running that as well, which was lovely. And when I went in, I was the only one in there, and it was almost like I'd left the building and I'd gone somewhere else. The quiet coming from walking in there after being in a busy convention hall was quite profound, and the artwork spectacular, absolutely spectacular. And it was this cool, quiet oasis of calm. I'm welling up. It was so lovely. It was such a lovely, lovely thing. What a lovely tribute. And I'm so glad that I didn't, I did think, oh God, I must go and do this now, or I'm not going to see it. And I'm so glad that I had that opportunity to go and see that and have that quiet space and just me walking around looking at this amazing artwork and getting right up to it. And I love seeing old comic art that has got the lettering stuck on it, and you can see the different layers, and you can see tiny little pen strokes and brush strokes, and it was just, to get right up to it like that on more than one piece was just it was just a really lovely experience. So I was really grateful that I got a chance to see that. And I know they are taking it round quite a few places, and like, I beg you, if you get a chance, I'm not sure if you'll pull off managing to have it to yourself like I did, but if you can go and see it, go and see it. It's quite spectacular. I think they were taking it to, did they go to Enniskillen, which was the weekend straight after, which is the weekend just gone. It's the 6th of June today, I think. I can't check, I'm recording on my phone. And that is also my watch. If you can get to see it, if it's coming anywhere near you, or if you have seen it, like, comment and let me know what you thought. And it was quite a special thing. So I did just want to mention that. Couple of other highlights of the weekend. I got to meet Anna Morozova, who was absolutely lovely. I got to catch up with my lovely friend Phil Vaughan. I had a really lovely catch up with Ian Edginton, and finally met Disraeli after all these years. I've been going to conventions and never pulled that off, so that was great. It was nice to have a quick catch up with Rob Williams. I got to meet Andy Diggle. What else? I got some good time with my lovely mates Sari, Jane Hurst and John Higgins. And this is just turning into a name dropping session, isn't it? Yeah, it is. But it was fun. And you know what? Everybody was just accessible to everybody else, because we were all in the bar. So if there was someone you wanted to meet, you could meet them. Oh, I met Colin Maxwell from Commando and stuff, and he was great, really nice. Gave me a very smutty comic, which I appreciated no end, as you can probably imagine. What else? So, who else did I see? Clint Langley. Got to see Clint Langley, who was just there on the Saturday, I think. And lovely time with my friend Ben. And have I forgotten somebody? Oh, I got a sketch of Laura Howell. That was amazing. So she was doing sketches. You could have yourself drawn in the style of a Beano character, or just a this is one of those words I can't say. Caricature. Is that it? Close enough. I have a block? It's a hard word. Anyway, I love it. I'll see if I can put a photo up on it on the. Apparently, there's this tab you can use on YouTube. Who knew? Where you can put pictures and stuff. And if I remember, I shall do that. And Steve Green and the other Steve. That's Steve. Were there, and they had the Rogue Trooper. Can you call it a costume? The backpack and the helmet and the gun and all of that, and lots of people got their photos taken trying that on. Steve made me hold the gun, so of course I inappropriately licked it, and Steve sent me a photo we took of that, and that will never ever 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 see the light of day. Fucking hell. Why I think I'm funny when I'm not. Anyway, if Steve ever wants anything at all, whatever it might be, just don't post that picture. Have I forgotten anybody? I hate this because then, Rob, you in there? Go see. Lovely Rob. It was lovely to catch up with him again, and very nice to make his Facebook friends list after knowing him several years. We'll see no more about that, Rob. It was lovely. I tell you what's one of the highlights for Lawless for me is the cosplayers. You've got the Labelles, you've got the Eastleys, you've got the guys dressed as the Night Watch. We had a David dressed as Judge Death. Who else did we have? That was awesome. Joanne as old school Durham Red this year. She was absolutely outrageously gorgeous, as she always is, and she was Death from the Sandman on the Saturday, I think, looking absolutely fabulous. Who else was there? Honestly, the guys dressed as the Night Watch and Mark dressed as Moist von Lipwig. Doing it for the ladies in the gold pants. Oh yeah. Loved it. The guys keeping everybody in the queue entertained and in line. It wouldn't be the same without them. They make half the fun of it, and it's just lovely to see them. Absolutely wonderful. Right, and that's it now. Really, if I have forgotten you, or if I've left you off, it's not because I'm a cow, it's because I'm old and forgetful and I drink a lot, and you should all bear that in mind at all times. I've got my camera in a funny place, so I'm looking at me, but I should be looking at you. And so if I'm looking at the wrong place, I'm old, I'm forgetful, and I drink a lot. There's a few things I want to talk about that I didn't pick up a lot of stuff. I really just didn't even seem to have a lot of time. I didn't get a lot of shopping, but I did go and see Ellen Holloway, and I did pick up a copy of this, which is probably backwards on your screen, but this is the Ball All One tribute book. I got to meet Dr. Bob too, legend. this is the book put together in honour of Dave Evans, beloved man. Anybody who's been to a comics convention in this country, or in the UK in the last 20 years will be familiar with this lovely face. I haven't finished it. I'm getting through it. It's an absolute joy. There's some just wonderful things in here. There's some amazing contributors, including John Wagner and Boo Cook, Dan Cornwell. There's Dom Reardon, there's Baden James Maloney, there's Stu Perrins, there's Arthur Wyatt, there's Dan Evans, there's John Charles, there's Lexi Conman in here. It's absolutely stunning, and I think the cover image is by Dave Broughton as well, so it's just, and he's caught him. It's just absolutely Dave. These are in short supply if you didn't pledge to the Kickstarter, which I didn't. It got buyers, and I thought, oh well, I hope I'll go and catch one at Lawless, and I got the last one. I knew they were keeping a few more for Enniskillen, I think. But I got the last one at Lawless, and I'm so pleased I just got there in time to get this, because I would have been sad if I'd missed out on it. But absolutely wonderful, and the quality of the hardback book and everything, it's just gorgeous, and I'm so glad that I got it. I'm scratching my eye again, which is making my makeup wonky. Look, what's this? I'm not going to do my usual what I've read and what I've done, but I am going to talk about one more thing which I've read a lot over the last 2 weeks, and I mean like most nights. So this is a book that came out, this is a comic that came out in, I think, let me say, it's about 2014. Came out with Improper Books, written by Benjamin Reed, with art by Laura Trinder, and it's called The Night Post, and it's a silent comic. I'm going to show you some of the artwork. It'll be backwards, it's just and the reason why I want to talk about this is because I bought this for my now 16-year-old back in 2014, when there would have been what, 12ish, something like that, 11, 12. And I think her doll read it once and was like, yeah, that was nice, and put it down. My 5-year-old, this is their favourite book. They are absolutely obsessed with it. And one of the things that they really love is that they can put words in the character's mouth, and then they're not reading them, they're their words. She can choose what they say, and she reads it a little bit different. Sometimes I read it, tell her the story, and I make up my words. And then sometimes she wants to do it, and she reads the story to me, and she puts the words in the character's mouths. And it is joyful to see a 5-year-old kid be so utterly in love with a book and in love with a story. And we have read this every night for 2 weeks now, and every single time we look at it, we find something new to look at. And the artwork is just absolutely beautiful. This is one of our favourite pages, which is the night post sorting office. And there's so much going on in little bits. I mean, this is a crocodile wrapped up with a bow on top of it and things. And there's so much to look at on all of the shelves that we make a point of trying to find something new every time we look at it. I hope that you can still get this book if you've got, especially if you've got little kids, because it is just, I mean, oh gosh, Ari's favourite thing to look at is this hot air balloon here, which is being flown by mice wearing postman caps, and she absolutely loves this so much. And there's another there's so many lovely little nods to fairy tales in it that If I tried to tell you them all, there would be too many. But she also loves this page as well, which is the postman delivering a package to the troll that lives under the bridge. And then when she noticed the 3 billy goat scruff were being tied up here, she just thought that was absolutely hilarious. And there's so many things like that in it, just absolutely draw you in. I'm going to show you one more page, sorry, but like this is my personal favourite panel, this one. So you've got them obviously delivering to, not Smog, but look at this panel here. Oh, isn't it delicious? Isn't it? Anyway, this is, I had to mention this. I don't, like I say, I don't know if it's still available. If it is, I'll try and find a link and put it in the description box. But I did have to message Laura to say this is, like, Ari's just absolutely obsessed. And Ari did make us, like, we went on Laura's Instagram and went back to 2013, I think, and found lots of our pencils from this, and she just loved it. She wanted to see more and more in every little detail, and it was so fantastic to share that with my 5-year-old that this I had to mention it. It was just brilliant. Like telly and film, other books wise, basically it's still Louise Penny. Almond Gamache all of the time. I will get to the end of it and read something else at some point, but I haven't even got the inclination. I'm so far into that world now that I don't really want to come out of it. But I have got a to be read pile that I've just sorted myself out. I've just tidied all my shelves up yesterday, and I found a load of books that I haven't read yet that I bought. So hopefully there will be stuff. It's just not yet. And telly-wise, last night we got to the episode in Star Trek, the original series, with Khan in it, and I'd never seen it. Obviously, I've seen The Wrath of Khan loads of times, but I hadn't seen the episode, and it was good. I enjoyed it. I think he had been inappropriately made up. I think it was interesting. These things keep happening when you watch older stuff, but I did really enjoy the episode. It was really good. And I think there's very little else I've been watching of note apart from Taskmaster, which I'm obsessed with, but it's just finished. But they've announced Sue Perkins and Julian Clary for next season. Awesome. That's it. I'm sure there's other stuff that I've been watching, and I've been watching all of the Danny Masterson trial stuff on YouTube. Again, I've mentioned it before, my weird obsession with Scientology, and yeah, I've been watching the daily footage of that, and he was found guilty, and that man is going to prison. Anyway, that's a different thing I won't talk about anymore. I think it's not many people are as obsessed with that sort of thing as I am, but you know. What else? Yeah, I'll tell you about my knitting, and then we'll call that job done. What do you think? So when I talked to you last time, thank you for all your lovely comments and things about the special with my sister. I enjoyed it so much that now it feels weird not talking to her, but I'm sure she'll come back again if I bribe her. But I did mention a couple of things I was knitting. Then I was knitting this floaty beautiful top, which I've now finished, and I won't all fit in because it's very oversized. Well, I'm oversized, and this is very oversized, so it's quite wide and very see-through and very beautiful and very soft, and it fits me perfectly, exactly how I wanted it, because I freestyled this pattern. I just looked at how many I needed to cast on to fit over, and then I just went until I was bored. And then I wanted it to be quite cropped to wear with high-waisted skirts and overdresses and things for the summer, and it's just perfect. And what I like as well is that I have the memory of going into the yarn shop with Lizzie and Sally and Amy who helped us choose the colours, and so I'll think of them and Iz's birthday every time I wear it, which is nice. I mentioned the other last time we were here that I was on, as knitters call it, Sleeve Island, because it feels like you're there forever. So I'd finished the body of this little cardigan, and I'd knit about this much of the sleeve. Well, I've only got this far, and I'm so bloody well bored with it that even though it's only coming up to about here, I'm casting the bastard off now. I'm done. And I decided not to do any decreases, so it's like quite wide, like a wizard kimono style sleeve, and I really like that actually. So I couldn't take any more, and now I've got another whole sleeve to do, which is, well, it's fucking depressing to be honest with you, but I'll really enjoy this when it's done, and I know I'll wear it a lot because it's one of my favourite colours, this sort of dirty mustard colour. It's a favourite colour. I'm not entirely sure it goes with my hair, but I don't care. That sounds like another person's problem, not mine. I don't care about shit like that. Don't care. Here does it clash? Don't care. So sorry if you can hear the needles clacking there. I just so bored I couldn't even be bothered to do any ribbon or anything at the end. Ribbon, when I say it, sounds so Geordie, and I mean ribbing, ing, not ribbon, ribbon, ribbing, ing. I wasn't doing any ribbon, so I'm just doing an I-cord cast off. This is no reflection on the pattern or the designer, which was brilliant. And I think what it was is because the construction was so different to anything I made before in the body, I was so excited to knit it, and I wanted to knit it all the time. And then when I got to the sleeve and it was just a boring old sleeve, like nothing interesting or innovative or different or nothing I hadn't done before, I was just like, oh. I think it's pretty, like, did anyone ever read the book by Tuva Jansen, Art in Nature? And in it she talks about doing the Moomin strip all the time, except for she's not really, the story doesn't say that, but it's obviously, that's what it is. And it was just like she just couldn't do it anymore, and then she was seeing the bloody thing everywhere and it was haunting her. Well, I feel like this about this sleeve. So also, if you've not read that book, you should really read that book. It's an amazing book of short stories. Oh, now I'm going down another rabbit hole into the weeds. Short stories as its own genre is one of my favourites, and there's very few people who can get a short story really, really, really right, and she is one of them. She is the timing and the pacing has to be perfect in a short story in a way it doesn't in a novel, because you have more time to play with. But in a short story, I mean, I suppose it's like the equivalent in comics of doing like a feature shock or something. If you've got a shorter amount of time, then it has to be good. And she's really good, and she has a few books of short stories, but Art in Nature is the one I would recommend. It's absolutely fantastic. Oh, now I want to read it again. Oh, might get me out of Gamache. Oh, that sounded wrong. All right, you decide. Anyway, when I went to Lawless, did I mention I went to Lawless? Did I mention it? Did I? Oh. I've snapped me knit needle, bastards. Bugger. Anyway, I cast on these socks because socks are really nice and easy to knit in the airport and on the plane and in your hotel room and sitting next to your mate at your stable while he's drawing. And so I cast on these in the airport on the way to Lawless, and then I cast off the toe on the aeroplane on the way back from Lawless. So this was the first one sock, and it is just a plain sock where I used the Elizabeth Zimmerman technique of knitting rib until I was bored, and then start knitting the sock. And then I decided I wanted them to be shorty socks, so I only knit about an inch of stocking stitch. before I did is slip stitch heel and the heel turn, during which it's quite important to get your count right when you put your heel cup in, because it needs to be in the middle of your foot. And what you don't want to be doing, what you don't need to be happening when you're doing that is Mike Carroll and Leona shout numbers across you when you're trying to count and put them in the right place. Naughty buggers. Still, it is in the right place. So that's the first sock, and the wool is by Dyed in the Wool, Dyed in the Yarn, Dyed in the Wool, either Dyed in the Wool or Dyed in the Yarn, can't remember. Dyed in the Wool makes more sense. Anyway, I don't know, but she's not dyeing anymore, but the colour is called Mulder, Can You Hear Me? So it's an X-Files reference, and that is definitely X-Files green. I'm talking very quickly today, aren't I? Because I've got the school run to do soon. And the second sock I started when I got home, and I have done, it looks all weird when it's like this, like it's going screaming at you, send help, she's broken and in need. So I've done the same sock amount of sock, slip stitch heel. I've done the heel turn, the little cup there that your heel sits in, and now I've picked up the gusset, and then I have to decrease the amount of stitches down, back down, and then just knit a foot, and I'm done. It's going pretty fast because it's double knitting, not sock weight wool, which is quite nice. You get a thicker sock, but I still knit them nice and tight because I like it tight. Oh. So these are my Lawless. These will forever now be my Lawless socks. I might do that every year actually. Knit a pair of socks at Lawless. Be good. Look at me pointing needle. Look. I sat on the bag. That's what my arse did. My arse. It's a needle snapper. That's it. That's my knitting. What else do I usually talk about? Other geeky stuff I think we're covered with Lawless. And is there anything I want to say? I'm sorry if this was a bit name droppy. Nothing more vile. Just call me Jimmy Aquino. Ah, I'm just joking, Jimmy. Clang. Speaking of Jimmy, Comic News Insider has had a big anniversary recently. So if you're not listening, it's an audio podcast, then you should go and listen to him. And it is like a big, I think it's, what did he say it was? 1,600 episodes or something like that, which is quite gobsmacking when you think about it, especially from those of us who do one every couple of months or take a break for several years and then do one and then maybe do another one 6 months later. Yeah, it's quite an achievement. So well done, Jimmy. Oh, that's another thing. Alex posted on Twitter, and I think I shared it on my Twitter. If you don't follow us on Twitter, I don't post much. I'm at Stace_W. But he posted the link to a panel that I ran in at the Canny Comic Con, which was, gosh, I don't know how many years ago now, and it was an excellent panel called How Not to Write Comics, or how to Not Write Comics, or something like that. And on the panel was Al Ewing, Nigel Octoloony, Daniel Clifford and Jack Fallows who are more small indie press, and Gordon Rennie. And it's a really good panel, and it's I linked it recently on my Twitter, so if you're interested you could go and give that a look. But I just thought, oh, I'd quite like to revisit that How Not to Write Comics. That was a good theme for a panel. So yeah, if you're interested, go and look at that. And I think I'm really just literally waffling, which I know is what it says on the tin, but I think I'm done now. I wouldn't try and listen to this at plus 1.5 speed though. I think I've been talking really quickly, haven't I? Sorry about that. That's it. So anything else? Yes. Oh, yes. There's one more thing. I'm hoping to have a special guest on again next time, and hopefully it will be Mike Carroll if we can get it all set up and done. So fingers crossed. But next time that we have a waffle, it'll be me waffling with Mike Carroll, which would be great, because one of the joys of podcasting, Kate, has always been podcasting with Mike Carroll. A long time ago, I did a podcast called Everything Starts with 2000 AD, and me and Mike did several episodes of that together, as well as a few interviews on Everything Comes Back to 2000 AD, and just a joy. Just a joy. So hopefully we can get that set up and sorted out, and we'll have a guest waffler next time. So fingers crossed for that, and hopefully we'll get some footage up from the panels or some audio or something. Lovely Steve Green sent me something to help edit the audio, but we all know that's not going to happen because I don't do editing, and maybe I'm going to have to learn. I don't want to learn. Anyway, that's it. The end. Have a great day or night or morning or whatever time it is. Bye bye.